What's up, horror boys and girls? You know what? I was going to start that by saying, what's up, boils and ghouls? But I feel like I'm stealing that from somewhere. I've definitely heard that before.
It's definitely from some sort of movie or something.
You know what? You could say everything is a rip-off of everything at this point, because I feel like nearly everything has been done. So,
it's true.
Yeah. Don't copyright me if that's from something, everybody. I'm one of your hosts, as always, Aran, joined by my beautiful, sober, dry Thomas. He's not Tom anymore, he's Thomas now.
Yeah. I'm doing, it's so funny because I'm doing dry January. Like I plan on doing mushrooms this weekend.
Cheers,
I'm gonna smoke a joint on this episode. I like this strain. It's really light. Looks like a little pink cigarette. But I decided I've never gone a month without drinking at least a drink or two. Like since I was 17 or some shit.
So what's the thinking behind it? Probably a long
time. What?
What's the thinking behind the dry January?
I don't know, just health in general, and almost like a proving to myself that I can. It's not like I have a problem. I've always kept it at bay. I enjoy my drinks. I don't like to get out of hand. Sometimes on Fridays when I was recording with Billy, afterwards I would just get drunk, and then the next day is ruined. Because I feel like crap all day and all that stuff. And, alcohol comes from the word alcohol, which means the body eating spirit, which supposedly means that when you drink alcohol, it disconnects you from your spirituality, like from your spirit and stuff like that. But I'm going to go back to drinking and doing it in moderation like I have been for a long time. But I don't know. It's almost just like a proving to myself thing that I can do it.
Do you know what? It's probably good every now and again as well to cleanse your body or whatever. I don't know, if that is actually a thing, but I always hear shit like that where people talk about, oh, I went off alcohol, I went off sugar for a month, or I went off coffee for a month. They're like, oh, I felt so much better, and then I went back and toned it down a bit and just had one coffee a day instead of 5.
Because coffee's not as good as people think it is for them.
No, unfortunately.
Yes, everybody, welcome back. Are you horny for horror? That's our tagline.
I actually think that has to be a thing now, and I really want to put that on a shirt.
Yes.
Horny for horror. I feel like that one would drum up some support.
Horny for horror. We'll probably just say that will probably just be the slogan on the shirt, but I do think it would be funny for it to have a knife with balls.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to that. I'm sure there's something that we could come up with too. Oh, as soon as I heard that can pop, I was like, wait a second.
I was lying the whole time. This is
Are you just like me with a can of moobs?
This is that it's like an Italian juice brand. I can't even pronounce what it's called.
I love that, dude. I love that stuff so much. So nice.
But it's been
go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying it's been many, many months since I've done mushrooms. So that's my plan this weekend is to, and also too,
just double down on everything else.
No, exactly. Just alcohol. I'm only dry, right? But there's been times where I'm hungover and I really want to do the shroomies, and I'm like, that'd be a bad idea because it'd probably send me down some spiral. So I'll finally get to, because you want to be healthy and you want it when you're taking them, and you want to be coherent and awake and happy. You have to prep yourself, because if you're not, it will take advantage of you.
Yeah, you see, that's the scary part for me. Anytime I ever dabbled in anything like that, I was always fucking shit-faced first, and it's just not a good match.
That's scary.
Yeah, not a good match.
Can I tell you one story before we get into this?
Sure.
The one time I had an OZ of mushrooms in the basement, and I was just kind of taking it time to time. I was pretty much saving it for me and the wife to do and all that stuff. And the one time we were drinking, and this is a time where I wasn't really aware of what mushrooms could do. I was only doing it, I've done it maybe 2 or 3 times before this. And then so I was like, all right, I'm going to so I feel a little good. My Chelsea passed out. I'm going to go downstairs and just grab a fucking little handful and chew it. And then I tried to play video games in bed, did not work. And then I was trying to watch a movie, and I was awake, and it felt like I was falling into my bed. And it was frightening, this weird falling sensation. I felt like I was getting sucked into the bed like I was Johnny Depp in Nightmare on Elm Street. It's not, do not mix that stuff, people. Bad
I remember. I don't know if I've talked about this before on any of the shows. Actually, I'm not sure if I've mentioned it that much, but I used to smoke an awful lot of salvia.
That's crazy. I've done it like 5 times, I think.
Dude, I've had some like horrific experiences where like I literally, I remember one time feeling like that I was being like sucked into the armchair. So I was like sitting in the chair and it literally felt like something was pulling me, you know, like the crease between say like the back support and like where you sit.
Yeah.
So like this part here, it literally felt like I was like, there's something grabbing me and like dragging me into the seat and I can't get out.
Salvia is strong, dude.
Oh, dude. Like
they used to sell it at convenience stores.
I know, right? And it's so like, I remember the first time I tried it, I didn't expect it to be so like instantaneous. You know, like when you take a hit and it literally takes like 10 seconds and you're like, whoa, what is going on?
Yeah.
It's fucking wild.
The first time I did it, I was sitting at a picnic table with these 3 chicks and this one guy. And I had headphones around my neck and it felt like there was a snake around my neck. And I looked at my friend Quinn. She's not the greatest looking female. And she looked like a witch. I know, it's sad. She looked like a witch and it was freaking me out. And then I could calm down and then we're all laughing and stuff like that. And then the second time I did it with a buddy and I was used to it. As soon as I hit it, I was like, okay, I know how this makes me feel. And then I kind of got used to it where I watched him freak out. He was sitting like this. And he said that he thought he was in a classroom and all these desks were flying by him.
Dude, it's so
like,
wild.
wow.
I remember having a friend who was always like the one, like at the time, he would have been like the guy who was like, oh, I would never smoke cigarettes. I would never do this. I would never do that.
Yeah.
And it's funny now because now he became the guy who's like a serial chain smoker and like all that sort of stuff. But I remember he was the first person, I think, to take a hit of it. And he just sat back on the couch and he was literally just like a robot. He just sat back and he was just staring ahead. And like he would ever so slightly be moving and kind of going like,
yeah.
And I was like, I remember instantly being like, whoa, this was a bad idea. I don't want to smoke that anymore. Just by looking at him, I was like, he looks like he's fucking, it was like something from Talk to Me. I was like, this dude is possessed.
Yeah, scary. Speaking of Talk to Me, let's bring it in and talk about some horror movies that are coming in 2024. I enjoyed Talk to Me. I'll say that to kind of bring it back to, you know, what movies kind of just got released at the end of 2023.
We probably should have done a year. It was something, and this is where I came up with the idea for this episode. I was like, we've probably missed the boat on doing like a year's end recap.
Yeah.
So I was like, I guess we'll just start fresh this year and just go into like things we're most excited for instead.
100%. And then we can recap it at the end of the year and tell you how much we either hated it or how much we loved it. But Talk to Me was good. There was like missing plot holes. There's things that I have questions, I guess I could say, and comments about, but I'll save that for maybe later. But that's a movie that I did enjoy, but I don't know. I felt like they were trying to do too much.
Yeah, all in one. But I will say, I guess in one sense, considering, you know, the two brothers that made it, it kind of makes sense because they're so chaotic. Like I've watched a lot of interviews with them. They were on Joe Rogan a while back, and like the interview was just so chaotic. Like even Joe, you can tell it's like, whoa, guys, slow it down a bit. Like you're just fucking
like just high energy. Like
like that's just the way they are. Like they're super like high energy.
Do you know other movies they've done?
That was their first movie
debut.
They have a huge YouTube following. They were YouTubers, like, and that's how they got that shit done.
Wow, we gotta do this, man.
It was funny, right? Because they were on
Come on, Jesus or God or Buddha, help us out.
they were on Logan Paul's podcast, and I didn't realize that obviously they had been friends with him previous to all this. Yeah. And apparently they had talked to him at one point when he was in Australia doing some shit, because they're Australian.
Yeah.
And or they're from New Zealand or somewhere like that. And apparently they had said something to him in passing of kind of like, you know, do you want to be like a producer or like an investor on a movie we're going to do? And I think he was like, yeah, just kind of like passed it over. And like he openly admits himself on the podcast. He was like, oh, I'm so fucking pissed off that
I'm going to say something controversial. I think the Paul brothers are horrible human beings.
Oh, Sam, I wish they were wiped off the earth. Yeah, no, I when I was saying that, I only watched that interview just because they were on it, because I wanted to see like what they were like. That was the first
Yeah.
time I ever seen them being interviewed on something. But yeah, they've been on Joe Rogan and everything now, and like obviously they have 2 movies announced for that franchise now. So they have Talk to Me 2, and
Really, I
then
didn't know that was coming.
yeah, and then Talk to Me, I think. So it's like, because one is a prequel to explain where the hand came from and that whole thing, and then one is a sequel to the first movie.
Okay, good, because they didn't really hash out any of the details.
And I think they talk about that actually on Joe Rogan stuff. That was all done purposely. That entire thing was done on purpose. And apparently when the full thing comes out,
dude.
yeah, apparently when the full thing comes out, you'll be able to call back to things that were in the first movie and be like, okay.
There's a couple scenes that had both me and the woman being like, what the fuck? Like,
that poor kid.
I'm not going to shit on it completely.
That poor kid. That scene where he's like in the
horrible
bathtub or whatever. Horrific. But yeah, I guess enough of last year. We're looking forward to this year, and we're going to talk a bit about...
before we enter the new year, do you want me to tell you what I thought of Thanksgiving? Just a little bit?
Oh, actually, yeah. And it better be really good, or I'm removing you from the show. I'm just going to move you off the screen.
I told you off air that I gave it like an 8 out of 10, 8.5. Like, it's well done. It is a slasher film done the way a slasher film should be done. And considering I am the king of slasher films, that's like my main go-to horror movie genre. I thought it was really good. I thought it was a cool premise for the mask and the whole idea, and that it's cool that it's a Thanksgiving horror movie. Because if you can find that niche and you can make it well, people will revisit that movie every fucking year.
Clever idea. I have to say, for Eli Roth, bravo, because it was, and he even talks about that. I listened to like every podcast he was on, and yeah, he was just like, yeah, we knew that like we had to go with that because there's nothing really else in that holiday, and I knew if I could solidify even a half decent movie, it would be revisited so much that like it would have been worth it.
Now let's do, I know it's been done a little bit with Leprechaun. Let's do a St. Patty's Day movie, but we do it about the Banshee. And some lady that yells at you to death. She like has a Karen haircut, something like that.
Why don't we just reboot Leprechaun? But because the way the world, I'm going down weird territory now. But don't do it. But I was going to say, why don't we just put a full-sized person, because it's not fair to full-sized people.
100%, just like they did with that Snow White movie that got canceled. Everyone needs to know the power of your dollar. But I really liked it, man. It was exactly what it should have been. You know
like,
mean?
look,
I trust Eli Roth. I don't trust Blumhouse, which we'll get into. But
if I was to really dig at the movie, I'm sure I could find multiple things that I was like, well, I'm not too sure about that and whatever. But like, I mean, like overall, if you were to. And he kind of says that in a lot of interviews. He's like, I only want people to take this for what it is and judge it based on what it's supposed to be, and not about like, I'm not trying to win like any like Academy Awards or do anything like that. I'm just trying to make a fun movie that people can revisit and have a bit of fun, have a drink, whatever.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be like, this amazing.
I wish I saw it in theaters.
Yeah, I saw it twice.
And I was trying to, and I was like, great stuff. There's some cool things coming up in this year, though. I know a lot of people are in this mind state that the world is going down a gradual decline, which it may be. But the more that we love each other, okay, the more we stick together, and the more that we just stop it all, the better we'll be. But at least while the world is collapsing in the next 5 to 10 to 20 years, whichever they always say that's going to happen, at least we'll get some good cinema because the writer's block is fucking off. Like the shit that was going on. Like
fuck, there was so many things that were like getting fucked up there, and there's probably more. We could probably even do an entire episode about things that have probably been
that buddy
cancelled
that does
or like
the cars from the movie sets. It was like his whole career is like it's based on that, right?
Yeah, it sucks. But yeah, we're just gonna, I suppose, run down through some of the stuff that we're both excited for. Coming up in this year, everybody. Yeah, like the stuff that's going to make the white stuff come out this year, make us horny for horror, genuinely horny. There's my dog. Cool. Thanks, dog. So I'm gonna start it off with something.
Don't worry, it's fine. That's what Charlie
That
does
dog
all the
is
time.
such an idiot. Like, my dog is called Scooby though, so you could technically say he could be part of the show because Scooby Doo.
It's true. It's true. And we are the mystery gang.
And I have a Scooby Doo tattoo on my arm as well. So
two ladies.
Yeah, so first up is actually out this Friday, I think, which is Night Swim.
Yeah.
I don't know how to like. I want to be really excited, but anytime I see Blumhouse involved now, I'm always like, huh. It used to be the other way. Like I would stab somebody if they told me Blumhouse wasn't good. You remember like when the Purge and stuff was like still a big thing and it wasn't overdone.
Yeah.
And like they had things like Insidious and different things like that coming out. I used to be like telling everyone Blumhouse was like the best thing to ever.
They're reviving horror. That's what I thought, right?
But like now, I think they got to such a pinnacle that like they just got completely lost, and then they signed that big deal with Universal, and it's just like.
I know people probably like The Nun and The Nun 2, but I thought they were both extreme trash. Like I couldn't even get through the second one.
The second one for me was better than the first one.
I know, you thought it was better. But the thing is, hey, I did like Megan a lot.
That was really good. I really
enjoyed it because it's exactly what it's supposed to be. The Nun is horrible. I don't know why you'd even be like, put that on a credit.
Yeah, but you see, it does have a massive following, like among horror fans, and the character is very iconic. Sure but yeah, so I'm just going to give like some, I guess, breakdown of what this movie is about. I didn't actually realize, and I probably should have got it up so we could watch it, but I didn't. This is based off of a short film that was made a couple of years back, probably about 10 years ago now at this point.
Was it a guy just like filming it in his pool and being like,
no, like
scary?
it was done quite well actually. It's the same guy and everything, and apparently like for years he had been saying like, I'm going to turn this into a feature, and I was like reading up on stuff like where people were like, okay, idiot, and like now it's coming out in theaters, which is quite cool. Like I like hearing those stories, but yeah,
me too.
Yeah, it's written directed by a guy called Bryce McGuire. This is his feature film debut. It's based on a 2014 short film of the same name, also by McGuire. The film stars Wyatt Russell. I think that's that guy from... I think he's in a shit ton of stuff, but I can only ever remember him from... you know that movie Overlord? It's like that weird World War like zombie thing that came out a few years back.
Yeah.
He was like the main guy.
I can't remember if I liked that or not.
I did like it. Again, it was one of those
I feel like I may have liked it because I remember someone telling me to watch it and I was like, okay, this isn't bad. Yeah, but it's been a while.
Yeah, so he's the lead. The movie follows the Waller family who move into a new house, after which they find an unknown supernatural presence haunts the backyard swimming pool. So when you hear it like that, it's like, oh, that's... I
know, but I did watch the trailer. It looks okay.
It does look decent. I'll give it that. James Wan and Jason Blum obviously are producers on it under their labels Atomic Monster and Blumhouse Productions. So normally something like that would give me an instant semi, but I've seen Atomic Monster and James Wan, his name on stuff recently in the last couple of years as well, that I've been like, it's kind of feeling a bit like the... You know, that like Wes Craven presents.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, like it seems like that thing where they're just using his name and he's like staying in the background of a couple scenes, like on the filming side aspect, and being like, that looks good. And then he walks out of the room and goes to his hotel, you know? Like or goes to some fancy dinner where he's actually going to pitch a real movie idea that he has.
It's weird, you know, that they, and maybe it's like, I don't know if it's like a financial thing or like a business decision, but like, I always find it strange now when like guys like that put their names on things.
Yeah.
Because like someone like him always started off and he always talked about like the art of filmmaking and stuff. And then you kind of wonder, like, again, I'm not trashing this movie because it may be good, but it's just like, I always feel like things like this are like a big risk. It's like, ugh.
I know, and it looks better than it sounds. Like when I watched the trailer, like it sounds interesting. And I was gonna say too, 2024 for horror, a lot of directorial debuts. I think we have 3.
Yeah,
as far as I know, which is pretty cool.
There. Yeah, so the origins of this film go back to around 2014 when Maguire made a short film version of this. He cited Blumhouse's early movies along with Poltergeist, The Abyss, Creature from the Black Lagoon as sources of inspiration. He also described the story as semi-autobiographical in connection with his childhood, saying that growing up in Florida, surrounded by ocean on three sides, in a climate that can only really be survived by taking part in water-based activities, knowing friends who drowned, homes destroyed by hurricanes, boating accidents and even shark attacks, you come to have a fear of the water. I was beyond certain that the water was an abyss and something horrible was rising towards me from the depths, even in my own backyard pool.
It sounds like he could write a decent story. And the thing is too, right? I can tell you that pools can be scary. And when I was like, I don't know, 7 or something like that, I was in my buddy's pool, but it was like a smaller, like above ground pool. And they had like this big ass fucking floaty in it. And then I got trapped underneath it and I felt like there was no end to it and I couldn't get away from it. I finally got out and I was like panicking and like I was under my last inch of like breath. And then I finally got out, but it was like I was swimming, and he was going over me. And then I looked up, realized that he was above me and then tried to escape it. And it was like almost hard to. And I was like scared the shit out of me. That's a memory that's always stuck with me too.
I remember being younger, like, and being in pools, and I do kind of get what he's saying. Like, as a kid being in a big pool, I remember having that feeling of being like, oh, what if something's like below me, or what if like when I'm swimming, there's like something behind me that I can't see.
See, and it's funny that Billy always makes fun of me for this because I'm always like, I was almost a lifeguard. So like, he's like, how are you almost ridiculous. A lifeguard? And I was like, because I went to like, and got to level like 11 or 12 and then you can go on and become a lifeguard. This is when you start like lifting bricks out of the bottom of the pool or whatever. But like when I went, as my mom forced me to go to swimming lessons and she said, when you were a baby, they would just dunk you and then they twirl you and you cry and then you go under the water and then you cry. And I'm like, sounds like kind of like a torture.
Yes, like some weird like waterboarding.
And like, yeah, sounds like a torture you do like a terrorist. All right. And so I've always like loved water, but there is a scary, eerie aspect of it. When you go to a lake and you swim down, there's like, you don't see any end to it. Like that shit's frightening.
Yeah, not really for me. I'm not a massive fan of the ocean. I can swim and everything, but I'm not a huge fan of the ocean.
All right, nice.
So the feature version was reported to be in production as early as January 2023, following the massive success of Megan. Maguire returned to direct his own screenplay, expanding the plot and adding what he called an epic supernatural mythology with a gothic fairy tale undercurrent for the story's sinister swimming pool.
I'll give it a chance.
Yeah, it could be decent.
I'm not going to hold my hopes up.
You're not going to hold your breath.
No, I'm not going to hold my breath. Don't worry, we have to lower the carbon emission that's caused by our breathing, so everyone start holding their breath.
Yeah, that will fix everything.
I was going to say something really political. Don't need to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything else to say about that as of recording this. It's coming out in like 2 days. I'm kind of excited. Look, anytime a horror movie's coming to the theater, I'm probably going to try and see it, or I'm going to try and support it. I may or may not like it, but I'll always probably go.
Yeah. I would like to do that. I wish we lived closer. We're just like, we'd be inseparable. Be like, why are these motherfuckers always in the movies? And
the only reason is because I have one of those fucking like passes where you can like see every
that's
movie.
A great idea. Yeah.
So like, yeah, it cost me, what is it, like $14.99 a month, and I get one ticket
I saw
to every
recently
movie.
Wonka. Kind of liked it.
Not for me, Thomas. Not for me.
It was something that we both agreed on. Because I always drag my wife to like see horror movies every time we go to the movie theaters. So we went there. I got high. I ate like an edible, I think before. Yeah, I ate an edible before I went. And then I enjoyed myself. It was fun. Musical. Good times.
So, you know what, right? And I've been in similar circumstances over the years with like different chicks or whatever. And like naturally, like every time we go see a movie, I'm always like, oh, I want to go see fucking Halloween, or I want to go see this. And it's like the one time they might suggest something, I'm like, oh my God, bitch, why you fucking... Oh.
I know.
It's like the worst night of my life.
I know. But it was fun. And then we came home, had a couple drinks and watched the original. And I was like, this movie's about a fucking psychopath. That's why I
Yeah,
want
it
to
is
do
actually
it.
pretty scary. Actually, you could probably do like a Is Wonka a horror movie?
So we have plans in the future at some point. Once in a while, we're gonna do something that we're gonna call off-brand, where we're gonna talk about movies that we both enjoy or that are weird as hell, that are may not necessarily maybe a horror movie, but it's only gonna be so often. But I would love to talk about Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. He's a serial killer.
Even that name is fucking scary. Willy Wonka. Okay, so we're gonna move on. I guess this was a movie you picked. I don't know. Do you have like research on some of these movies, or do you have anything?
Yeah,
like,
I'll bring them up.
I
I had some stuff that I've been watching a bunch of stuff. Oh yeah, this looks interesting, man.
So I didn't actually look up anything about this because I am gonna be super controversial here and let everybody know that I do not like A Quiet Place at all.
Really?
At all.
Wow.
I remember seeing the first one in theaters, I think, and I was like,
I like both, I think.
yeah, I remember being like really engaged because of like the that use of silence, and I was like really engaged in the theater. But I remember seeing the second one at home, and I was like, this don't have the same effect on me anymore.
Weird. I'm actually surprised because I remember enjoying both, and like, or I knew this first one was obviously it's always better. But that's why I thought this was, it's a cool premise. I think other now movies have done it, like Bird Box, and all that stuff. But I thought it was a cool idea. Let me bring it up.
Yeah, you see,
So
I'm just categorizing all
upcoming-
those in the same thing. Also, I'm not sure what it is, but something when you're moving, something is like rattling. Yeah, something
give me
there.
one sec. Goddamn pod mics, man. They just don't sit properly because they're able to like go onto the small and big one, whatever. So an upcoming American post-apocalyptic horror film written and directed by Michael Snornsky or whatever. Snornsky, sure. Based on the original story by John Krasinski and Snorsky, but it's it's like a prequel. So like the idea is we're gonna see when this first happened. When did these aliens come? It's a cool premise of the idea. And the reason why I like the first and second one, I feel like they put the time, money, and acting into creating it, which sometimes with these movies you don't get that. Especially horror movies nowadays, a lot of them are just pushed out and it's like barely written together well. Don't have a good idea, Halloween ends, stuff like that. But like I did enjoy the first two. I thought this would be pretty interesting. I think it's set to release in March. But it's going to take us back and we're going to figure out, what's it all about, and then, I also heard that they're going to do the third one. So they're gonna have a prequel of day one, and then they're gonna in 2025 they're gonna do still that same family on a third movie of Emily Blunt, and all the same people are coming back. I heard, so I was like, that's kind of cool.
You know what? I might try and like get back into it again. I think I
liked
it. Part of it was like that thing, and it happens with every type of movie that does well now. But it's like you mentioned Bird Box and stuff, and there's probably only like 2 or 3 movies that done it, but. I just felt overwhelmed. I was like, everyone's trying to do like a Quiet Place movie. I hate it. I don't want to hear anything about it ever again.
I guess because it made so much noise and shit, right? That you're like almost didn't like it.
Yeah, look, that can happen as well. I'm not necessarily knocking it, but it just wasn't something when I looked down through like the list for the year. It wasn't something that I was like, now, don't get me wrong, I'm probably going to go see it opening weekend because that's just, I'm retarded. Like, so, ooh, can I say that word?
Yeah, I know. Not anymore.
Am I allowed to say that word? But hold on though. If I'm actually retarded, can I not say that?
I've been diagnosed with stuff. OCD, but I could
retardation.
Yeah, the doctor told me that.
That's the end of this episode anyway.
And that's it's just so funny. It's just like when I say that word, I always just mean that it's beyond stupid. That's so dumb that it's just, it's our generation. So you know how long I had to like scrub out of my head to not say that's gay when you're talking about something.
And this
was
something, I think we talked about this a while back, and it's the exact same for me. This is something that like I used to just say that randomly, not even realize like it was never meant in a harmful way.
I just pulled up something because I'm looking up some stuff. I was like, weird. What's Lisa Frankenstein? And I was like, I think I saw that I've been watching stuff of what's coming up, and it sounds kind of fun. It's an 80s set coming of rage love story between unpopular high school student and the perfect dead she resurrected for herself. The goth lovebirds with a penchant for murder are played by Catherine Newton, Freaky, and then Cole Sprouse of Riverdale, and obviously the Cole brothers or whatever, or the Sprouse brothers. I mean. What's that show they're on? Zach and Cody have a fun, rich time.
Sorry, my dog was being an asshole there. He's like barking constantly.
Did you hear about that?
What? Sorry, I didn't.
This Lisa Frankenstein?
Oh, yeah. Again, that was another one. I didn't even really look into it.
I just saw it. I was like, I want to.
Yeah, as soon as I heard about it, I was like,
people love. I'm not a fan of Riverdale. Never watched that shit. But people love that guy, Cole Sprouse dude, the Sprouse brothers or whatever. People seem to like them.
Don't know. I think, have I watched Riverdale? I don't think so. I tried to watch it, I think, because people were always talking about it. When I used to work in GameStop, we started to get like Riverdale t-shirts and like Funko Pops and stuff, and I was like, you know what, maybe I'll look at this and see, like, is it like worth looking at? And like I was like 2 episodes in and I was like, Jesus Christ, killed me.
Oh, what? There's a Strangers movie. Whoa, what happened?
Okay, yeah, so that's something. Will I move on to that now? Because I have quite a bit to say about.
Really? I didn't know you had that. Okay, that. I just saw that. That's
yeah, okay. Cool. So movie. This is something that I'm super excited for. So I love The Strangers, especially the first one, Pray at Night. Look, it's okay. Maybe is like a weird. I would see that as more like. I was watching it
recently, and I liked the first one better.
Yeah, I love the first one. Like, that's like scared the shit out of me. That whole idea of like being somewhere, say like with your girlfriend or like your wife or whatever. Imagine being out in the middle of nowhere, dude, right? And like shit like that starts to happen. Like someone's like fucking banging on the door and they keep asking for the same person. I don't know why you keep dropping out. I don't know what the hell that is.
That is the weirdest shit, man. I've never had that happen ever.
But yeah, the second one to me seems like more like a weird, like kind of like a spin-off movie than like any sort of like sequel or like franchise thing. But yeah, when I heard that this was happening, at first I was like, oh no, like why are we like rebooting movies that came out like not even 20 years ago now? I'm like the original came out what, 2008?
That's when movies were good back then.
And we're already getting a reboot. But when I read more into it, okay, so
it's a reboot? Movie,
yeah.
So it's right, like, that's not necessarily yet. You know, like it's not necessary yet.
So I don't know, right? So it's a reboot, but it's also set in the same universe as the original.
Both are great. Like the first two, like especially the first one, are great because it's the idea of like it's essentially, I think that some of the inspiration was taken from the Manson family murders, because even when she said, "Why are you doing this?" Because you were home, and that's, I'm pretty sure, what like Linda Kasabian said, or like one of the chicks said that to one of the people, but they did kill them all. So I feel like that was taken from a quote, like "do something witchy." The whole idea. This is definitely inspired by that true crime case that will come on Strange Brew one day.
But yeah, so this is
for Manson.
This is going to be this is going to be directed by Rennie Harlan, who you may know as the director of Nightmare on Elm Street 4, Die Hard 2, Deep Blue Sea, Cliffhanger.
A shit ton of different movies. Wasn't that bad.
Shit ton of other movies. So the film follows a young couple driving across the country to begin a new life together in the Pacific Northwest. Along the way, their car breaks down and they are forced to spend the night in an isolated Airbnb house in Oregon. Throughout the night, they are terrorized by 3 masked strangers. So this is like... So I'm not really sure how they're releasing this or what way this is going. So what's been announced is it's a trilogy. And it's The Strangers, chapter 1, 2, and 3. And that's for definite, right? So then here's some stuff that like different people have said about the movie that are like involved in production side or whatever. Fans of the original will be blown away. New audiences will discover the intensely unnerving world of The Strangers. It taps into such primal fears that it will always be relevant. But what truly sets the project apart is the way the filmmakers have expanded the story and given these characters new life. So that's from Lionsgate's EVP of Acquisitions and Co-Productions.
It is a definitely real fear that like that's something that's happened throughout our society for how long, right?
The idea of that, like I said,
homes and then stealing your shit or killing you. It's happened more often than I think most people would like to think about.
Producer Courtney Solomon said that when we set out to remake The Strangers, we felt there was a bigger story that could have been told, which could be as powerful, chilling, and terrifying as the original and could really expand the world. Shooting this story as a trilogy allows us to create a hyper-real and terrifying character study. So they actually, when they shot this, they have shot all 3 movies already. And I was listening to Rennie Harlan and Courtney Solomon talk about this. So like they said, like on a Monday morning we could be shooting like the opening scene for chapter 1, and then like Monday night we could be shooting the finale for chapter 2.
What? So they're doing a whole 1, 2, and 3 chapter now.
Yeah. So but they're 3 separate movies. Whoa. But they're 3 separate movies, but they filmed them all at the one. Like they spent, I think it was like 68 days or something, and they shot the entire 3 movies all at the same time, like within that 3-month period.
That's crazy.
And so the plan is that they reckon this is going to go off super well. And here's another thing: they're wanting all 3 movies to release this year.
No way.
They want all 3 movies to come out, and it's getting a theater release. It's not coming out on fucking, Hulu or any of that shit. I can't afford to
go see 3 movies a year, man. You know what Canada's like.
It's like 50 fucking quid just for one person. But yeah, so they apparently they want all 3 movies to come out this year, and they don't want them spaced a ridiculous amount of time apart. They want to have it like so people are still engaged in the story. Rennie Harlan said, I definitely see more movies, and it's almost like I don't even want to call this a trilogy, which is why we use the word chapter. It's more of a beginning of a new universe. If you thought the original ending was thought-provoking, I think when the 3rd movie of this first chapter ends, you are going to be like, oh my God, what's going to happen now? In the end of the 3rd movie, you have more questions than answers, and I see a bunch of new movies coming after that. And just continuing her story. Our focus is our central character and her journey and where she's going to go and what these experiences are going to do to her.
Well, I hope that they do it right, because that sounds a little rushed. And what do we know about Nightmare on Elm Street movies?
So, yeah. So, like, they seem really... like positive and like confident about it, but then I also worry, like when I hear that they're going to release 3 movies in 1 year, and
they have a hard time doing that in like a year.
Yeah, so like instantly I was like, oh great, these are going to like fucking Shudder or something. Not that I have anything against Shudder, but it's just like that's the kind of quality we're getting. But then he was like, no, these are coming out. These are getting and they're not getting a limited release. They're getting a full release.
I love that idea. I love the idea of The Strangers. I think it's right up my alley of slasher film, plus mixed in with a little true crime style killing, and pretty fascinating. Can I just tell you something that I was just reading?
You can.
Winnie Pooh, Blood and Honey 2 is coming out in fucking February. I haven't seen the first one, but I didn't know that the first one was it was 100,000 British. That's how much it cost, $100,000, and it made 5.2 million in the box office.
Yeah, so I'm supposed to the guy who made that actually and is making the second one is I've been talking to him about coming on the show at some point.
Sorry,
because I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated because I'm going to ask him those questions. I'm fascinated by that idea of being able to do something like that.
I will watch it, but
it's
I know
happening more and more.
I know like, I'm gonna get kind of.
What was it we saw?
If it was anything like that Grinch movie, man,
I'd imagine it probably is. And I don't know if you've seen the news that came out like yesterday or whatever. There's a Mickey Mouse movie.
I saw that. Yes.
So, I mean,
This is how we sell sex to little girls. Whoa.
Oh, it's just going to be fucking terrible. Okay, let's move to another one of your picks
So
if
crazy,
you
man.
want. Let's go with something that everybody's probably going to be excited for.
I'm so excited, man. I hope this is good.
So I am, right? Because I love Beetlejuice so much. But the reason this wasn't on my like first off picks was because of the same thing we've probably talked about with every movie so far, is my fear that am I going to go and be like, oh no, this was a terrible idea? Is this going to be like Hocus Pocus 2 for me?
I know that movie was quite bad, and all those ladies looked. Sarah Jessica Parker looks like a 75-year-old's foot.
You know what's hilarious is that, like, as a kid, I remember, like, you know, I had my first pube and I was like, oh my God, she's so hot as a witch. Wow. And to see her now is like, whoa.
I
Yikes.
know. Yeah, scary. This is pretty exciting. Beetlejuice 2. Okay. I don't think there's too much about, at least what I heard about what it's going to really be about, but I did hear like Michael Keaton's coming back as Beetlejuice, Catherine O'Hara as Delia Dietz, and then even Winona Ryder is coming back as Lydia Dietz, and then Jenna Ortega is going to play her daughter. And I'm a fan of Jenna Ortega. She did good in Wednesday. I thought the Scream was good until politics got involved and cancel culture. And then someone else as big as come on this. Beetlejuice is going to have a wife.
Interesting.
And I heard there's going to be like almost like in a cop in the Astroworld in the kind of afterlife. And I thought it was not Kevin Bacon, the other weirdo. There's someone else that's supposed to be on it, and it's pretty exciting. I think
the other weirdo.
Oh, I can't. William Dafoe. Was it William Dafoe? I think it might be William Dafoe. Let me look that up. Yeah.
Hey, I like him.
I do. He's a weirdo though, man.
He's not definitely a weirdo.
It looks like he's on the cast. I like him. Okay, he's a great actor. I think he should play the Joker at some point, because I think he could. And who doesn't love Spider-Man? But you know, I think that's pretty interesting that he's going to come on and play like some like cop in the afterlife that maybe has to wrangle Beetlejuice back in his like domain or whatever. But what excites me specifically is the cast. If they were doing it and they had like one of them sound like only Michael Keaton was going to be on the film, and then they had to make a whole new story. Like now, you know, we weren't going to get Gina Davis, or was the Baldwin brother? Isn't he dead now?
Yeah, I don't know. I want to be excited, but like, I always worry about like, especially something big like this. It just, I don't know. I'm just getting like Hocus Pocus vibes.
Alec
and
Baldwin
like, I feel
is
like
not dead. That's the wrong Baldwin. But I just wanted to say that he looks so different in that movie compared to now.
Life hasn't been kind to poor old Alec.
No, I don't want to be disappointed. Is my thing, because I do love the original, and I think we'll talk about it at some point.
Is there
it's definitely a staple.
Is there a premise or any like plot or anything?
I was watching some stuff and I didn't hear anything. So let me look this up in case. Because I just heard that they have the cast. Let's see, Beetlejuice 2 plot. Let's see if we get anything coming up. Okay, so that's the original plot. That's not what I want. The story follows of the Dietz family moving to Hawaii, where Charles is developing a resort. They soon discover that his company is building on a burial ground. So that's from the first one. I don't see any. A long-awaited sequel, 1988 hit, is finally in production after years of development. The film will focus on the human connection and explore the intricacies of keeping a family together against a backdrop of Michael Keaton's Beetlejuice being up to his old antics. So like I said, there's not much that they're giving us when it comes to this film yet, and I don't think they would want to. Like, I think they'd be pretty pissed if the script or something like that, or the premise got leaked. But they seem to have a good foundation of kind of what they want.
Yeah, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Like, look, again, like I say, I'm not knocking it or anything, and I will
No.
probably be there like opening weekend or whatever. But I don't know. It just makes me fucking nervous. Just please, 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 please don't ruin it. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say like, oh, I'm expecting it to be as amazing as the first one. I'm sure it'll still probably be a little bit let down. I'll be like, yeah, it was good, but it wasn't that good. But as long as it's just not absolute dog shit, then I don't mind.
Yeah, and like I said, I guess like according to Willem Dafoe, according to him, he will be playing a former B movie actor who, after dying, assumes the job of a detective because he played such characters in life. I feel like it's kind of a cool premise, man.
That could be interesting.
Yeah, Keaton said he's reprising his role. Tim Burton will direct it. So, like, this is why it makes me have faith. Because Tim Burton, I feel like, still has it, man. I feel like he can still bring it back for some, like, big epic movie. And people will be dying to see this. And if they don't do it right, they're going to be criticized, right? So, like, they're going to get shit on by a lot of people. But didn't stop them before making trashy films.
I might go and see if I can meet Jenna Ortega this year, actually, because they're shooting that new season of Wednesday in Ireland.
Really?
Yeah, the whole season.
Get her for an interview, man. We can be famous.
Imagine.
Talking to Jenna Ortega.
Just stand there with my pants around my ankles behind the police cordon and be like, hey, I have a podcast.
Yeah. That'll get her attention.
Yeah, that'll
I'm sure she
get
gets
her
that
attention.
too often.
Anything else to say about Beetlejuice, or we want to move on?
Let's move on. I'm excited, but, I'm not going to hold my breath.
So we're going to go back to something that I picked on my little list or whatever of things that are like, look, like I said, I'm going to see every movie probably, and I'm going to be excited for probably 99% of them. But these were just the ones that really stuck out to me. And it was like, I really want to see if this is going to be good, which is the Faces of Death.
That's
reboot.
fucking Billy, man.
I know, right?
I fucking love Billy, man.
Same.
Guy's the playboy.
I wish I could look like that. Just how ridiculous it looks with that hair and like the mustache and shit.
It's funny. My buddy Mitch has been on my podcast like once or twice. He's a character. He's a real character, but he's like the only guy that I know that can like pull off a mullet. And he used to work out where he's kind of like a Billy, body physique or whatever. Guy used to like do roids and shit. And he's the only guy I know that can pull off like a mullet. He grows his hair long throughout the winter and then does it in a mullet. And when he's like, you watching Stranger Things? I love Billy, man. Billy's the man, getting all the moms or whatever. And I was like, yeah, of course you'd think that. Cause it's like he's like a douchebag character that you want him to be the hero and he has the potential to be, but he's so douchey that you don't even know.
To be fair, his character was done really well, and it done a complete flip.
So I've never seen Faces of Death.
So there's one that I had said to you. I suggested that we do as maybe our first maybe big Patreon thing together, where we would watch it and have it up on screen so people could watch with us.
Okay, I like that
and
idea.
get our reactions. I think that might be a really good thing, and if we start to put some more of that kind of stuff to Patreon, it might entice people over there. But so you're gonna have to excuse me now, because as always, for some reason, whenever we do any of these things, all the names of all these people that are involved in this are things that I have literally never heard of before.
That's fine. People give me bad reviews on Strange Brew because I can't pronounce shit. It's not my fault. I hate last names.
So, directed and co-written by Daniel Goldhaber.
Sure.
Oh, that's actually a thing. With Isaiah Mazzei.
Sure.
Mazzy?
Just make it up, man, as you go along. It's fine. These
Barbie Ferreira from Euphoria. And what's that dude's name? I didn't put his fucking name in here. I have Billy from Stranger Things. Something Montgomery, isn't it?
Yeah, Billy. Just call him Billy, man. That's fine.
Billy Montgomery are set to star in this reimagining of the 1978 Faces of Death. Legendary Entertainment will spearhead the project, which will take a more modern twist on the cult classic. Released in the late 70s, the original movie is widely regarded as one of the most controversial movies ever made. Following a pathologist examining the various gruesome ways that people around the world have died, the film was presented in a documentary-style format and became an urban legend that they showed actual murders. However, most of the footage is spliced before and after actual footage from news, casts, etc., and mixed in with stage scenes. The movie was banned in many countries and supposedly made over $60 million off of a budget of under $500K. In
Just
the
crazy.
70s, that must have been nuts.
Yeah, I'm rich. I can retire now. I'm done.
60 million, dude? In the fucking 70s?
Oh yeah, it'd be tons of money. I've not. It's so crazy. I've never seen this, but I've heard like rappers and shit talk about it. It's so weird.
So the new version of the story will follow a female moderator of a site akin to YouTube as she sorts through content unfit for the platform while dealing with her own personal trauma. During her search, she stumbles upon a group looking to recreate the murders presented in the original film. With modern fears of deepfakes and scarily accurate AI content ever present, the question remains whether the heinous videos are actually real or not. Both directors and co-writers are both writing and directing the remake. In remaking the film, they wanted to not just explore the thinning boundary between what's real and fake, but also how the internet plays a role in stoking violence. Faces of Death was one of the first viral videotapes, and we are so lucky to be able to use it as a jumping off point for this exploration of cycles of violence and the way they perpetuate themselves online, they said in a recent statement.
Yeah, this movie looks fucked up, man.
Oh, it's dude, and there's like 4 of them or 5 of them. I think I bought them all recently on like physical just in case they like disappear.
The premise of the idea is smart though, because like with AI and deep fakes, man, like it's getting scary. Eventually someone could just show you a video of Trump or anybody, right? Being like, I murdered 500-700 babies, you know? And it's just like, I just threw them away in the trash. And like, and then they'll be like, that he said it, man. He said it. It's on camera. It's like, so this is where it gets scary and too real for my liking. But I'm actually excited to watch the original.
If you're looking for something really interesting, actually, to listen to or watch on YouTube, there is a Faces of Death director's commentary.
I want to watch the movie with you first, though, because I want to.
The actual director made the films under a pseudonym of like some weird name at the time, and he didn't talk about the movies, or no one knew it was even him for a long time. And then like years later, a guy who like was pivotal in getting these movies like proper like physical upgrades to like Blu-ray and shit. I think he was just like a fan. Yeah. But he ended up getting all this stuff like moving basically, and he got friendly with he found out who the director was and got friendly with him, and they recorded like a commentary track for the movie, and it's one of the best commentary tracks I've listened to for any movie. He talks about like the whole idea behind it, how they came up with the idea. There's all this shit with like Japanese investors, and the whole story is just wild, man, how he was able to pull it off.
Sounds interesting. And if we're going to do that, especially since the one is upcoming, for all the fans out there, we should definitely do a commentary for the Patreon. This is why you support, because you're going to see a lot of uncensored, unfiltered type content, a lot of fun stuff. But I do think that maybe we should do a small talk about Faces of Death, the original, because I've never seen it. I will give you my honest and raw thoughts. And
there's number 2, 3, and 4 as well.
Great,
and
I have to watch all these fucking graphic movies.
Apparently 2 and 3, I think, are like worse than the others.
Well, we'll watch the first one together.
I've never seen 2, 3, and 4.
You haven't? Okay, I was gonna say. I was like, maybe I'll attempt to watch the rest if I have to.
I've never seen those content ones.
All right, well, we're definitely gonna do that. I don't know much about this film because I've never seen the original. I've definitely heard about it. It's infamous. But what do we have up next?
We've another one of your picks, actually, which for like it completely... I don't know how it like missed my radar completely, because I probably would have had this on my list. So I love The Crow.
Yep, me too.
Love The Crow. And people say, oh, of course you do. It's fucking gay. But I love The Crow, and I'm actually really interested to see where they could potentially take this. Again, there's a part of me that's like, oh, this could be a huge yikes.
I know. I love people are like, don't touch it because the original is so good, but they already try to do that. Like I'm so cringe, boy, that I liked The Crow 3 with Edward Furlong. That movie made, when I was 12 years old, that movie made Edward Furlong my favorite fucking actor.
You're in your room at 12 years old being like, I am the Crow.
Yeah, 100%. My hair looked like that shit.
Slicking your hair back a little.
I actually was the Crow for Halloween. I have pictures somewhere. I know I do. I look like a fat crow, a fat short crow.
Funny actually you say that. One Halloween I remember dressing up as what was his character's name? John Connor. Edward Furlong as John Connor in fucking T2.
Wow. Just with the hair slicked to the side.
Yeah,
it
was
jacket.
basically, I just basically had like my normal clothes on from like the 90s or whatever, but I had that shitty bowl haircut.
Yeah.
And I was like, he's so cool. I wish I was him. I wish I was that kind of kid.
It's so sad what he's like now. It's so sad.
He was
my favorite actor because of Terminator 2, American History X. Gotta love those racist films, man. They're great. And they give you a lesson at the end to not be racist. And then The Crow, when I think I was like 11 or 12 when I saw The Crow 3, and I saw the original, I was like 9. Like I was pretty young, really liked it. It was dark. And then it was one of those babysitters I had that I told you about. They were like obsessed with horror movies. So they'd be like, okay, you could probably watch this. And enjoyed it a lot. And then that movie came out and I was like, just loved. And I watched it recently. And let me say, it is very cringy. Still enjoyed it to some extent, but it's
funny though, like how at the time stuff like that just seems so great. But one thing I will say though is Edward Furlong, I wouldn't say he's making a comeback, but he seems to be doing a lot better than he was several years ago, which is good.
That's true. So The Crow is an upcoming American supernatural superhero film directed by Rupert Sanders from screenplay by Zach Balin and Will Schneider, based on the 1989 limited comic book series of the same name by James O'Barr. It is the 5th installment in the Crow film series. It's serving as a reboot. The film stars Bill Skarsgård, and I'm pretty excited about that, I gotta say, as Eric Draven, and the Crow, a murdered musician who is resurrected to avenge the death of his fiancée, played by FKA Twigs. Don't know who the hell that is. I like Bill Skarsgård, man. He's a pretty good actor. He's done well in these type of roles. I don't know who else could have played Pennywise the way he did. Like, I think he almost did it better than Wheelchair Boy. What's his name? That's so mean.
Ooh, that is grim, and your people are going to shit on you for calling Tim Curry Wheelchair Boy.
I see Tim Curry all the time. I love Tim Curry. And I see those videos and I'm like, oh, I feel bad. But the fact that he's still meeting fans, dude, wild.
So I can't help it, right? And it seems to happen a lot in the UK. So sorry to anybody from the UK that listens to this, but there's a lot of UK horror chicks out there. Yeah. Now, I'm not knocking you because I love you all. You're great, and you're really nice to look at. But when those conventions come to the UK and they have someone like Tim Curry, and it's like all these chicks who look like supermodels. Yeah. And then it's just like Tim Curry looks like he's been hit by a truck in a fucking wheelchair beside them, and like it just looks so awful. It's like someone dragged a corpse and like threw it into a chair.
If he's expressing that that's really what he wants to do, cool. But if it's his family trying to make money off him, that's wrong. To be
I hope it's not like the Stan Lee thing where it's like, hey, super fans, I'm so happy here. And then like off the screen, like his lawyer, whoever that dude was that took over all his affairs. And he's just like, I'm being held hostage and he's taking all my fucking money.
He's pimping me out, man. That's exactly what happened. It's so crazy. So initially they didn't know who they wanted to play the Crow, right? Eric Draven. And there was, who could have been the Crow? Bradley Cooper. That would have been really weird.
I'm all
Luke
Bradley
Evans, Jack Houston, don't know who that, or Jason Momoa.
I actually
Jason
seen
Momoa's a creep, man.
There's images out there of him like with like the photoshopped like Crow makeup and stuff, and I was like, I'm just not feeling that. And I also don't want the Crow to be like, because he kind of has the same stature as like someone like The Rock.
Yeah. No,
And I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't want the Crow to be like 8 foot tall and like 6 foot wide.
He's supposed to be a normal dude that is
Yeah.
murdered.
Yeah, and
Right?
it's that
So,
thing
like,
of like, and it made guys like us feel better because it was like,
yes.
yeah, if my fiance got murdered, I would come back, I would resurrect as the Crow.
Yeah, ew, yeah. I just saw like a sorry, sound like a 4-year-old girl, but I just saw like a clip or something of like people promoting it, Jason Momoa as the Crow, like when it's like a reboot coming soon or whatever, and it looks it looks stupid. His makeup.
Yeah. I'll bring it up on screen for everybody if you
Yeah,
want to
that
see
does
it.
not look good.
It's just, I don't know what that looks. That looks like some weird like knockoff like Robin or Nightwing character.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Some some wrestler because it's exactly what he looks like.
Yeah, it's like something from WCW.
I'm excited for the Crow. That's weird. I hope they do it justice. I hope that they don't destroy a great movie that we'll eventually definitely talk about because it's one of those movies that are close to my heart. I would even probably watch the other one, Angels or whatever, the second one. It's not terrible.
Do you know what? There'd be something that we could potentially do, some sort of a deep dive or something on those 3 movies.
Yeah, because I love the third one, as I said. But I'm excited for this. I hope they do it well with the potentiality of too much CGI. I would hope not. But if they do this well with practical effects and they have a good story and they keep it dark like Spawn should have been, then it could be good. You know, I'm excited.
Yeah, I am actually kind of excited, and I hope that they don't fuck it up. And I hope with good old Pennywise being involved, I feel like he hasn't really missed that much in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Like I loved Barbarian, he was really good in that. So I hope he kind of brings that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to something that I had picked. Again, this is another one that I'm really apprehensive about, but I'm also kind of excited about for several reasons, which I'll explain in a second. And that is the new Alien movie that's due out this year, apparently in August of this year, called Alien Romulus. Now, the 3 main reasons I'm excited about this is this was pushed and greenlit after the success of Prey.
Yeah, which was
because they feel like that this could be the Alien version of that style of movie, how it's written, how it all plays out.
Yeah, because Prey was dope.
Number 2 is because the movie is a standalone movie, so it doesn't like try and do any weird like, oh, like Ellen Ripley is back, but it's like a different person, or it's her again and all that shit. They're not doing any weird like Halloween callbacks where it's like, oh, look, here's Sigourney Weaver and she's 85 years old and she's been waiting on LV 426 for 50 years for revenge.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Yeah, they're not doing anything like that. It's a standalone. And I don't know how to pronounce this dude's name. Fede. Is it Fede Alvarez?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's how they pronounce it.
He wrote and directed Don't Breed and 2013's Evil Dead.
This is why I'm kind of thinking that it could be good, because both those movies are actually well done, and the fact that I guess he wrote like the screenplay, and then
the only thing I'll take him down a peg for.
What
is the only thing I'll take him down a peg for, right? And I have a lot of love for him because I do like those 2 movies a lot.
Because you like to breathe.
The only thing I will knock him down a peg for, while you know what, there were some of the scenes I did kind of enjoy, but he wrote the story for that newest Texas Chainsaw.
I don't know. I didn't mind it.
I didn't mind it,
but
I rewatched it again a few nights ago, right? And I was like, you know what? I actually don't hate this as much as I thought I did.
I don't hate it. I just need more from it. But for a fast-paced hour and a half, shorter, like
there was. Yeah. My 2 biggest gripes were they brought back back the character of Sally and like killed her in like 2 seconds, and I just feel like that was a complete miss. I was like, if you were gonna bring her back, you're gonna have to make her be like a Laurie Strode. Like,
I know, why do that?
Yeah, and number 2 was I just didn't really care for that idea of like, oh, all these people are coming to this town, like all these like millennials are like taking over. I was like, oh, you're putting now. You could say that they put those really unlikable dickhead characters in it just to get them all chopped up, but it's like they were insufferable.
I agree. Well, that's what this woke culture, and then maybe they were like playing on like, you know, killing these type of people. But there's something about the story that really missed for me. And I'm like, I enjoyed the film. It's fast paced, whatever. And there were some good kills and memorable moments. Still think I wanted more from that film.
Yeah.
I don't know. This could be good. You know, if he seems like he would have a good grasp of maybe how to make this dark and creepier and more graphic in a way where it's like, I don't know. Alien is always, I've always enjoyed Alien. Love the first one. Like, it's great. The pace of it, the whole scheme of it, the Ridley Scott's great. But it was always like a more of an action film. If they can actually turn it more into like a horror film, you know, I think this guy has the potential to be able to do it.
So
don't know if I like the poster though.
Yeah, I don't know if that's actually like an official thing or what. The only official image that I think is like definitely 100% confirmed was the one on the left hand side. There was the Alien Day thing because it was posted to his Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the movie takes place between the events of 1979's Alien and 1986's sequel Aliens. After the acquisition of 21st Century Fox by Disney, it was confirmed in 2019 that future Alien films were now in development. In March 2022, it was announced that Alvarez would be writing and directing the film after pitching his own story, that it was said to be unconnected to previous films in the franchise, and originally was set to release on Hulu. And I think the idea with the Hulu thing was because Prey came out that way.
Yeah.
That they were like, okay, we're going to try and replicate that. The plot and character descriptions have been kept under wraps for most part, except for the plot synopsis, which states a group of young people on a distant world who find themselves in a confrontation with the most terrifying life form in the universe. So at first look, I don't think anything seems surprising about that idea.
Yeah.
But I do like the fact that it's set between the first and the third movie, and they've kind of said that it will kind of take that tone a bit.
Yeah.
We're not going to have like some of the newer style of Alien. I mean, there's a 57-year gap there where Ellen Ripley was like floating in deep space between the first movie and the second movie, so there's a lot of time there that they can take up, and I don't think they're trying to do like I said, like, oh, here's Ellen is back and all this shit. They're doing their own separate story.
I'd probably watch the first one again and then watch this one. And
yeah, it's in that time period, but it doesn't necessarily connect to, you know, it's not trying to connect the first one to the second one.
Can I say something controversial?
Sure.
I'm not a huge fan of Prometheus. I know people absolutely love that movie. That's like Juan's favorite movie from the 101 podcast. And it's just like, I don't know. This is not my thing. I like the original.
So look, I appreciate the idea.
Yeah.
I like what they were going for, but wouldn't be my thing. I wouldn't say I enjoyed it as a whole, but there was certain things with Alien Covenant that I was going to say
I enjoyed that more. Not gonna lie, I know Prometheus is good, and the whole idea of it was like good. Like I understand that on paper and the way it looked and all that stuff.
It wasn't for me.
It just wasn't my, like, I love the original Alien. I love the fast pace kind of horror anticipation. That didn't give me the same vibes. It seemed like it was definitely a totally different story, just with the idea of the xenomorphs or whatever. But like, I don't know, still not my thing. Actually, Alien Covenant was not the greatest thing, but I still enjoyed it. It's fine because I always know if I really enjoyed it, if I go back to it. I've only watched Prometheus twice. Alien Covenant, I think I've watched twice also, but I don't even remember most of it.
Yeah, I would like to rewatch Alien Covenant again at some point. I actually for Alien Day this year or 2023, I went to the movies and I done a double bill of Alien and Aliens.
That's fine. I haven't seen Aliens in a while.
Right, and so like I thought, I was like, oh, this will be so much fun to do. And it was like 2 weeks after my birthday, and I was like, this will be something fun and different to do. When I say by the end of that I was like so fatigued and I'm just like, this was the worst idea I've ever
never
had.
gone and saw two movies
5 hours or something 5 hours. Like the two movies were literally back to back. I was like, I'm about to fucking commit suicide.
Aaron's gonna look like this, and he's like, my
That's
eyes,
what I felt like.
They hurt.
That's what I felt like. So Alvarez reportedly came up with the idea years ago, and it wasn't until 2021 that things moved forward. Rumors say that the young characters may be a group of thieves who come across the xenomorph during a heist, but nothing has been confirmed so far. The teams behind the design of the aliens from the original have returned for this movie, along with Stan Winston's company, which is obviously a fantastic sign for fans. Disney also choosing to forego the Hulu release and giving this a full theater run is another big sign for fans.
Oh, that makes me question it instantly. Disney's behind
you think
this?
So? Well, they own 21st Century, so
I don't know. Hopefully it does well. Disney has been pretty awful recently.
I despise Disney and everything they touch, but like the thing that makes me think there might be something to it is their decision to not throw it on Hulu.
I did like Prayer, so not Prayer.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people have mentioned that this is like the Alien version of Prey. They think that it's gonna like reinvigorate the Alien franchise.
Yeah, I want to see
make
Prey
people
too.
excited.
Is that coming?
This is the thing, you see. Yeah, because like Prey, I think revitalized the whole Predator thing.
Yeah.
And from what I can see online, everybody seems to be saying this is the movie because it's a standalone.
Yeah.
They're not trying to impose on any existing story.
Predator
this is
or
like the
Alien?
movie.
Who are you about? Whose dick would you suck?
Oh, I don't know. As a kid, I was never afraid of Predator, but I had ghastly nightmares for years about the fucking alien. Like,
if you're saying scary wise, definitely the alien is scarier. It's a creature that just like essentially kills and has no regard for human life. It's funny because the Predator's the same way, but I feel like they're intelligent enough where if you weren't seen as a threat, they might not really do anything. But like cool wise, who's cooler? Predator's definitely cool. Cool guy can disappear, be a hologram, and no one will know.
I have a cool Predator figure over there actually, and he has the little. You can like flip the little thing on his wrist and turn the lights on, and they like.
Know what you got to do, man? You got to out Predator the Predator. You got to bring like Bill Gates there, right? Fucking Jeffrey Epstein's best friend.
Just a load of cans of moobs. So the final thing about this that I was excited about, which is I think interesting. There is a lot of reports stating that the movie will play out with a vibe similar to Alien Isolation, the video game.
Yeah, I love that game. It was great.
And it'll have that like in terms of like how tense the movie is going to be. It's going to play out like that, which I think plays into Alvarez's hand because he seems to work best with like that like tense, heavy, and like tight movie. Yeah. And there's also like reports that potentially the movie starts on a planet, and this is where the story of like them being a group of thieves, they're on a planet to try and like take resources, and then when they go back to the space station, they don't realize that they've brought the fucking alien back with them.
I like that. That's fun. I'm like kind of digging that. The game is great, man. Yeah. The game's one of those games I can play all the way through, and I rarely do that because games always make me lose my attention. I'm always like, there's something better I can be doing with my time, like working on the podcast or writing music or whatever, right? And just hanging out for once. But that game I played all the way through creeped me out. The androids were like, scary.
There was several times where I remember like shitting my pants and like pausing the game because I was like, I can't fucking deal with this anymore. I'm about to have a heart attack.
I know. When it first came out, wild, like sent shivers down my spine. All right, let's go off of aliens. What are we doing next?
Okay, let's go to another one of yours.
Yes.
Which is
Backseat, bro. Ty West's epic trilogy about blood and carnage of the two ambitious women will continue in 2024. So it's obviously Pearl and X, and now we have Maxine in the last film of the trilogy. Maxine promises to deliver more blood, drama, and thrilling performances from lead actress Mia Goth. Maxine is set After the events of X, following Maxine as she continues on her ruthless path to fame, the final installment will feature a star-studded cast of Elizabeth Debicki, don't know who that is, Moses Sumney, don't know who that is, Halsey is going to be in it. That's kind of interesting.
Interesting. She's psychotic, so.
Yeah, she definitely is. I don't mind some of her songs, to be honest. The wife got me into some of her music back in the day, but she is definitely a psychopath. Michelle Monaghan and Lily Collins. That sounds familiar. I'm just about that Mia Goth vibe, man. This shit's fucking great.
Whew. You're telling me.
I loved. So listen to this. I saw X first, right? Me and the wife both liked it. Like, it was different, right? Kid Cudi's in it, kind of cool. Like, there's something about old ladies, naked old ladies.
Sexy.
That was like, it's the creepiest thing in the world sometimes to people, right? Especially when she's like, love me. Oh, like to her husband. And they're like, oh man, I felt uncomfortable. But then, so I didn't know that there was I was like, I really like this movie. I watched it for the second time and I was like, man, this was pretty good. And then I didn't know that there was a first one. I had no idea that there was the movie Pearl. I don't know how I didn't know. So I looked into it, watched Pearl, and was equally impressed. Was like, this is great. Really well done. Fast pace. Keeps you on edge. So then when I was like, there's got to be obviously one more. And now they're doing like the last one. And I don't know, Ty West he's pretty good at what he does. I got to branch out on him a little more though.
Yeah, I still think he's super underrated, to be honest with you.
The Sacrament's great, dude. I'd love to talk about that movie. Jim Jones, man.
Love that movie. I would love to watch that again. I would love to do a commentary on it. I would love to do a little deep dive on that.
Sacrament, bro, we'll have to time it when we do our Jim Jones episode, and I'll bring you on for that one. And we'll have to, that's going to be like 3 hours. It's going to be a long episode. House of the Devil was okay.
So House of the Devil, in my opinion, is Ty West's best movie.
It's funny you like it so much. I thought it was pretty good, but I didn't think it was movie.
Love it. I think it was because it was one of those things, right, where I rarely watch like TV anymore.
Yeah.
And I remember I don't know why, but I was like up late one night, like, and I was like downstairs. I think I might have been like sick or something. So I was like kind of like sleeping on the couch, kind of not.
Yeah.
And I just happened to put on one of those like shitty like horror channels or something.
And
it was like that thing where it was like up next, Ty West, House of the Devil or whatever. And I was like, what's this shit? And I was kind of like lying there, like kind of like half asleep, like watching it. And then like I found myself, I was like, wait, I'm like really getting into this. And maybe that's why.
Good. Yeah. Like it brought you back to being like a young kid again.
Yeah, like that feeling when you were a kid, you were like, oh, I'm in this world. It's like fucking great.
Is The Innkeepers any good? I haven't seen that. I was looking at
that's another one that's decent. I remember watching that.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check that out.
Ago.
I actually wanted to watch VHS and I couldn't find it anywhere for like free streaming that on my platforms. So I was like, oh, one day I'll watch it because I heard they get worse, but I would like to. I heard the first one is not bad. That people
I loved the first one.
Okay.
I remember when that came out, dude. I was like, this is my shit. I love found footage so much.
I liked Pearl, man. I liked X. I thought they were both well done. There's like, I don't know. To me, it's very unique. Horror, like I don't feel like you see these type of films often where it's pretty much a completely unique and original premise. They have a structured story. There's not many holes. I don't know. I think it was great, and I don't think he could have done it as well without like Mia Goth being like the lead.
Yeah.
Just because there's something about her. Even that movie that you suggested, I actually really like that movie.
Infinity Pool, I love that movie.
Weird, man. Weird movie, but it was like, it kept my attention.
Yeah, and I don't know what it was about it, but it was another one of those things where I was like, that was another one where I got that vibe where I was like, not sure about this, but I always hear people talking about it. And then like after a few minutes, I was like, how am I so invested in this already?
I know, you get sucked in. I don't know, it's like, and it's exciting to see where like, because I didn't know who the hell she was until I watched X, right? But her career seems to be doing pretty well. It seems like it's kind of cool. You could say it to be known as like a staple in horror, especially for like women and stuff like that. I think that's kind of interesting.
The thing I like about her as well, though, is it's not like that generic, like, oh, she's a scream queen.
Yeah, no.
You know, she doesn't have that like thing. It's not like she's one of those chicks that shows up in a movie and gets like killed or whatever.
Yeah, no, 100%. She's a lead in the role, not like just one of these basic bitches, right? That just die or they survive one movie and they bring it back to get murdered.
Yeah, like 50 years later.
I'm excited.
Anything else on Maxine?
I feel like we should wait because once this comes out, I want to do a deep dive into all 3 films and have like fun with it.
Yeah, which I think could be a really good episode.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess we'll move on to something that I picked out. Again, another one that I'm like super apprehensive about, but I'm not sure, and I am sure, and I don't know.
I actually love the first movie, man. Silent Hill.
Right? So this is the interesting part, and I don't know do you know much about this one?
No, but I was a fan of the first and I think the second one, like they were decent. And it was filmed, the first one was filmed in the city I used to live in. Small city.
Yeah. And so the second one I think is not regarded as highly as the first one.
No, the first one's great.
So it is written and directed by Christoph Gans, who also wrote and directed the 2006 Silent Hill movie, which is the one you're talking about.
Okay.
The movie stars Jeremy Irvine and Hannah Emily Anderson and is based on the video game Silent Hill 2. The film serves as the third installment of the franchise as well as a reboot. The story follows James having been devastated by being separated from his soulmate and receives a mysterious letter that leads him back to the town called Silent Hill, where he hopes to find her. However, he discovers that the town has been changed by some unknown force as he delves deeper into the town.
Second or third game.
Yeah, it's based on the second game. He finds terrifying figures both familiar and unknown. Doubting his own mental stability, he tries to comprehend reality and hopes to stay strong enough to rescue his beloved. So, in January 2020, director Christoph Gans told a French magazine that he was in the process of writing new screenplays based on Silent Hill with producer Victor Hadida, who I think his dad had the rights for it. Yeah. So he later clarified that the work was not a direct sequel to the 2006 to 2012 series. And it will have his goal is to have some kind of like a similar idea to like the Twilight Zone, where he wants to make Silent Hill and the lore around it like a place where any kind of story could be told in any sequence. The film is also said to have a very similar tone to PT, which was a playable teaser for the cancelled game Silent Hill. I don't know if you remember that.
It sounds
a couple of years back, there was a game coming out, or supposed to come out, called Silent Hills, and they brought out this demo called PT, and everyone, dude, I swear to God, right? I was working in GameStop at the time, and like everybody was talking about this shit. And now, if you have a PS4 that has that installed, because what people done was they pulled the files and they left it, they just turned their thing offline.
Yeah.
So it couldn't be removed.
Weird.
There's dudes selling those PS4s now for like $2,000, $3,000 because that game is gone. It just got wiped from the PlayStation.
Was it like
a
full game or is this like a teaser?
No, well, it was like a teaser, but it was pretty fleshed out, like, and it was like that first person, like Alien Isolation kind of thing, but it was Silent Hill.
Man, that would have been so good. Why are they not remaking more games though? I don't understand that.
Yeah, I can't remember what exactly happened, but apparently because this has become such a big thing, this new movie. Yeah. I didn't realize, like, because I was like, oh, this is going to be one of these, like, you know, direct to streaming or whatever, but apparently not. So this dude has been working with Konami, and they brought him on board, and so they brought him on board for the game, and he brought Konami on board for the movies, and they have created like a whole new aesthetic for the monsters, and that includes like previous characters like the Pyramid Head dude and all that shit. And now they're going to bring the game out as well, and he's on board as like a creative director.
Dude, that sounds fucking awesome because those games were great. Like I grew up playing those games. The movie got filmed not like far from me. Like I just think about my buddy that dressed up like Pyramid Head. Legit like made a Pyramid Head costume. Had like the sword and was dragging it shirtless. My skinny fucking friend. I'm like, fucking weirdo, man. I was like, can't believe you made that costume. And then it was funny. It's just funny bringing this up. It's like full circle. Brett was over like 2 weeks ago or something like that. Co-host, my buddy from the podcast or whatever, right? And he was like, later on we should like watch Silent Hill. And then I was like, yeah, that's fine. I was like, why? You got a hankering for it or something? I was like, why do you want to watch it? He's like, I haven't seen it in a while. I'm like, all right. And then we like drank and play pool, and he drinks so much whiskey that he just falls asleep on the couch. Like just like it's like out. All of a sudden, me and my buddy Sawyer lost him. And then I came down to let the dog out at 5 a.m. And then he was like, can I watch Silent Hill? And I was like, I don't give a fuck what you do, man. And he watched Silent Hill and finished it and then went home at 7 a.m. And I was like, man, he really wanted to watch Silent Hill, man. And I noticed that he watched like the whole thing. I told him, I was like, you should come on ClassHorrorCast sometime. I was just thinking we could probably get another camera and I could put his face like where it's both of us and both of our faces. Because he's like super into movies and like, he has a whole collection of DVDs because he can't get internet out where he lives.
Do you know what would be great to do actually would be to maybe closer to the time that this is due out, because this is due out in the summer, I think. Mm-hmm. If me, you, and him done like a commentary with drinks or something for the first one. That's
a great idea. It'd be kind of fun. That'd
be kind of fun. Yeah,
because I can throw it up.
He must be like a diehard fan.
That's so fucking funny. I was like, why, man? But like, there's ways I can set up the studio where me and him can be like side by side and watching the movie, and then all you get is both of our faces. Like 2 cameras, very simple setup. That would be fun. I definitely want to do that. And he seems like adamant that he loves movies. Like he was surprised I've never seen Divergence. The one you said has a chick on the Descendants. I think that's it. Chick on the cover and she's all red and shit. Descendants? Is that like a movie?
No,
you don't know what we're talking about?
I said it.
I thought you said it also, that it is a good movie. Descendant, never heard of it. Really? Jesus, man. Okay, maybe it wasn't you, but I swear, I was like, oh yeah, you told me to watch that, and you were like, yeah, it's a good movie.
Descendants.
From the studio that brought you Saw and Hostel. The best horror alien thriller since Alien. They were just fucking throwback to that shit. Huh, you've never seen that? Guess I gotta watch it now.
Never heard of it.
Weird. I'm actually surprised.
Weird.
I made my brain made that up then. You also told me it was good.
Let's move on to another one of your picks, which would also probably be in my list as well. Also, this is not obviously an official image at all. Oh, what's going on, Thomas? Possessed?
Smile. It's so funny because when this movie came out, after we saw it, my wife kept going down. I guess she's at the top of the stairs and she's like, I was like, stop doing that. I don't like that. Don't do that. I like the first one. It's a sleeper, weird movie, dude.
Sleeper hit.
What?
This was a sleeper hit for me. Like I didn't expect. Again, I went, I think, like opening weekend. And I was excited, but I was like, oh, it's just going to be like some generic trash.
Yeah.
And then like I left and I was like, wow, that was actually way better than I thought it was going to be.
Smile burst onto the horror scene in 2022, sweeping audiences away with its brutality and betrayal of grief. Director Parker Finn reported that he purposely kept certain plot points vague to survey potential sequels in the franchise. That makes sense because you can see why there is. Sometimes I'm like, okay, if the holes are done on purpose, I understand, but if they're done because somebody didn't hash out the idea that they wanted, that's when I have a problem. So this one which will follow a woman struggling with an invisible force that threatens her life. Although we don't know what fresh surprises await us in Smile 2 just yet, we do know that Naomi Scott has been tapped to appear in the film. So I'm excited. The first one was interesting. I thought it was a lot better than I anticipated when I saw it. I was like, okay, this is going to be, because I saw Barbarian, I think, beforehand. As much as I liked Barbarian, it was weird. It was a weird film.
Oh,
The
I love
end
that
scene,
movie so
I know.
much.
I don't know
The
why.
ending is the part that I don't like, but the rest of the movie I fucking loved.
That's the one thing that we kept saying after we watched it was like that baby scene where she jumps out and she's like holding the baby. I was like, what the fuck?
That ruined it for me. But like the rest of the movie, I couldn't fault it.
I love Justin Long, man. And Smile had that like
so good
impact where people think it went too far. Like the ending of like showing like the weird creature thing and like all bad CGI. I actually thought it looked pretty good. Thought it looked pretty creepy. That was a weird concept. And it was cool to finally like that movie Boogeyman. I just watched that. And for them, they showed too much. It was just a weird setup. They showed too much. It wasn't scary. And this idea of like, we got to battle this monster that's like in children's dreams. And that lady with the shotgun, like, come on. You could have made that movie 10 times scarier.
I hate that thing in movies, and I've
but Smile
referenced
was good.
this. I've referenced that before with movies where, and I don't know how to explain it other than like that thing. And I distinctly remember, I think it came out in 2012. Was it Don't Be Afraid of the Dark or something like that?
I am though,
and it reminds me of like the premise of that, and it happens so much in these movies where, you know, like all the whole movie goes on, and then we hit like the third act or whatever, the final scenes are starting to come up, and the characters are all like, you know, they do that thing where it's like, I'm not afraid anymore.
I know.
And then like the like whatever
McAllister.
demon it is like screaming and all going, oh, I'm not able for this. You're not afraid of me. I'm fucked. And it's just real cringy.
Man, that whole premise of that movie could have been way better. I'm sorry if somebody like, I don't know, if somebody likes Boogeyman, cool. Was not really impressed by it at all. I thought that they had a good idea going into it, and then they show way too much, and then you have to battle this monster that lives in the imagination of children, and that's the whole idea of the Boogeyman, right? And you could have made it a lot better than what you did. You know?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. This one though, I'm hoping will follow suit. Considering we didn't expect anything from the first movie, I don't think fucking rewind this back in 6 or 8 months when this one comes out, but I don't think they can fuck it up too much.
No, I'm excited. I'm excited. I think that we should save some of our thoughts because we could end up doing a deep dive into both films when they come out, just considering we both actually really enjoyed it.
Let's see, we're kind of coming towards the end of some of this stuff now. I have another one that I picked that I'm pretty excited about for the last couple of years actually, which is Shelby Oaks. So Shelby Oaks was supposed to come out last year, but obviously with the strikes and stuff, it fucked up. So basically the movie was done. Whole movie was shot, edited, it had its sound and everything, but they needed to get some of the actors in to do some ADR for their lines. And because of whatever way the strikes were working out, they weren't actually able to bring in the actors to do.
Why do you like this so
much?
What is this thing about? What is it about?
So, written and directed by YouTuber Chris Stuckman.
Do you like him?
Who is a really famous film critic on YouTube. The film follows a woman's desperate search for her long-lost sister, which falls into obsession upon realizing that the imaginary demon from their childhood may have been real. The Kickstarter campaign for this film reached its initial funding goal of $250,000 in less than 24 hours. The initial stretch goals up to $600,000 were released within a week and a half of the campaign, which prompted the addition of further stretch goals up to $1 million, which were also reached before the end of the campaign. When the campaign finished after 1 month, a total of $1.4 million was pledged by nearly 15,000 supporters, making it the most funded horror film on Kickstarter.
Why can't we do that shit, man? Somebody fund us.
I know, right?
We'll write out a good premise and you better fund us. Just kidding.
In July 2021, YouTuber and film critic Chris Stuckman signed on to write and direct supernatural horror mystery film Shelby Oaks for Paper Street Pictures. The film is based on an online marketing campaign depicting a series of found footage videos about a fictional paranormal investigative team named the Paranormal Paranoids. Shot as a traditional feature, but it will also mix in elements of found footage. I have seen so much about this online over the last 2 years that like I just want to see it now.
Really? Does it sound like it's going to be the shit? Like they're like, this is going to be it. Best horror movie
I don't know, like
ever.
this guy, I do like this guy. I respect a lot of his opinions on film and stuff, and then just from hearing what like some of the people in the industry have said, that it is very good and it's very unique, and then the fact that like it got fucking 1.4 million,
Yeah, it's crazy.
on Kickstarter within a month seemed a bit wild as well.
I don't know this
but
guy,
again, look, I don't know.
if he's got a good opinion, he looks like somebody I knew in high school. But
Again, I don't know. Like, it could be completely fucking terrible. I don't know.
but you're excited for it.
Yeah, like
You're
I
hard
like
for it. You
when
want
I
it.
when yeah, like I really hope it makes the white stuff come out, and especially when I see YouTubers doing stuff like this, because it makes me horny for the idea of maybe someday.
I know, obviously. And
Maybe someday we'll get $14 donated to us.
I know, 100%. One day, and I believe that, and we're going to put it out there and obviously support the show, and that's how you make us grow, so we can make the white stuff come out, and maybe one day deliver you a movie that you couldn't even imagine is
that will make your white stuff come out.
Yeah, you have no idea.
Maybe we'll actually make the white stuff come out in the movie.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the key to it.
Well, just in the middle of the thing, we'll have one cum shot really quick, just so people are like, what the fuck was that? And it's like, this movie sold $1 million. That's not much anymore. 20,000 million bajillion gajillion dollars.
Like those flashes of the demon face in The Exorcist.
yeah.
Just have a cum shot every now and again going like...
That's a true story. The guy who played porno in the theater, and like it took for like all sorts of films, and they would just add like little like 5-second clips, enough where people would be like, "That's weird," and then you just keep watching the movie. So funny.
Okay, so we have the last movie I think we're going to talk about in depth, and then I just have a handful of things that like really, really quickly, more like notable mentions for the year. Yeah. This was on both of our choices, I think.
Yeah, man.
Which is this is the one. It's going to be interesting. I'm excited, but again, I'm a bit apprehensive. So, written and directed by how do people pronounce this dude's name? Robert Eggers?
Oh yeah, Robert Eggers. Man, this is why I'm excited for it. You know how much I love The Witch? One of my favorite fucking horror movies of all time, probably.
Yeah, and he also done The Lighthouse, which is decent.
I didn't watch that, but I've heard good things. Is it worth a watch? It seems like a weird setting, kind of.
It is. It's fucking weird, but like, I mean, just to see it, I guess. This is also going to have
Bill Skarsgård. This is why I'm kind of excited for this, because there's like, for Shizity, sure, he could definitely pull off the vampire. Like, I guarantee it.
So this is the thing, and I'm gonna educate all the listeners out there. Do not refer to it as, Bill is playing Nosferatu.
He's playing Count Orlok.
Orlok, because that's the name of the vampire, everybody. It's not Nosferatu.
No, 100%.
Just so you know that. And the reason people want to know, what's the story with the whole Nosferatu thing? So that's, I want to say that's Romanian or something for vampire. And that was used because obviously they were ripping off the Dracula story, and that's how they that was like their workaround. So yeah, development began in 2015, and
William Dafoe's gonna be in this. Why is Dafoe?
So like that's him. That's him there. That's William Dafoe on screen.
Oh, what? Really? Cool.
That's him. And so this is the reason I brought this image up. So I'll get to it in a second. But so this was supposed to be his second film that he wrote and directed.
Yeah.
The movie was shot in and around Prague in 2023. The film is a gothic tale of obsession between a haunted young woman and a terrifying vampire infatuated with her, causing untold horror in its wake. So William Dafoe is playing a character named Professor Albin Urbanhart von Franz, who is a character who didn't exist in the original, and he's going to be some sort of like fucking lunatic vampire hunter. And it really reminds me, if you look at that image, and I think this was done on purpose, look at that image, right? And tell me that doesn't give you vibes of, and I was supposed to have this ready. But just give me a second and I'm going to pull it up.
Dude, is the
Tell
original
me, right?
Nosferatu, is it public domain?
I think so.
It has to be. You
Yes.
know how old that shit is? I would love. Oh, fuck, man. Lon Chaney is the freakiest looking fuck, man.
Tell me, though, that that's not giving you vibes
100%. Whoa, yeah.
of that. And everyone went wild talking about that.
Dude,
going,
we're
interesting.
100% talking about that on both the shows because it connects to both.
Oh,
It's a cursed film
Dude.
that it's disappeared. I would love to fucking find that shit. No one's going to.
I know.
But we have to talk about that, especially for a YouTube thing. That's crazy though. And the thing is, I want to do a public. If it's got to be public domain, we should do a watch along on YouTube and Rumble and all that stuff. Because the original's sends shivers down my spine when I first watched it. It's bizarre looking. It gives you the creeps, the setting, how old it is, just the film, how purely how the film is, because it is actually that old. I don't know. It's this creepiest silent film in history, man.
So for people who maybe don't know, so as a remake of a film that's been around for just over a century, the plot is obviously no mystery. As the original was directly inspired by Stoker's novel, the creators made slight changes to names and locations in an attempt to avoid copyright infringement and appeal to a German audience. In despite of the alterations to the character names and settings, Stoker's heirs fought against the unauthorized use of his story, and a court ruling ordered all existing copies of the film to be destroyed. Several copies of the film survived and have since been brought onto digital formats, cementing the movie as one of the most influential cinematic masterpieces. So
that's crazy. It was so different, and Stoker's fucking Dracula movie. This movie is not that great. It's actually long and boring, and the book is the exact same thing. Cool, you inspire what vampires are. I've read the book. It is boring.
Yeah. Unfortunately, but I suppose if I had created something like that and I felt like I was the reason that I created this iconic thing, I would probably be scummy as well and do the same thing. Be like, fuck you, motherfucker. Give me my money.
Yes, it is. Nosferatu is public domain. We are doing a commentary on it sooner than later.
So for people who may not know also, here is a brief breakdown of the story of Nosferatu. So, set in the 1800s, this gothic tale of obsession, love, seduction, and fear follows a young man named Thomas Hidder, who was sent by his employer to the castle of Count Orlok, aka Dracula. He is there to assist with the paperwork for Orlok's purchase of a new house, which happens to be right next door to Hutter's own home. While staying there, he suspects that Orlok may in fact be a vampire. Before he is able to flee, Orlok sees a photograph of Hutter's wife, Ellen, and remarks on her beauty. After reading a book about vampires, Ellen learns that the only way to defeat him is to have a pure-hearted woman willingly offer her blood to him. Whether the movie will stay true to its original story is not yet known.
You know, to be honest, if somebody's going to do it, it's going to be that Robert Eggers guy.
Yeah.
Edgar, whatever.
And I like the fact that we have... William Dafoe and stuff as a lunatic.
I know. And Bill Skarsgård, I feel like, is one of the only people that could pull off doing Nosferatu in an extremely creepy way. I don't know. There's something about that guy. He's able to manipulate his face and do these. I don't know. And it seems like Bill Skarsgård gets right into the role. He's method in some sort of way, right? It just at least seems kind of like that. But I don't know, based on The Witch, which is up there in my favorite favorite horror movies that sent chills down my spine, I would go back to watching it over and over probably at some in the future. I think that this could be quite good. I'm pretty excited.
Well, I'm pretty excited for this one. Really weird as well that the release date is marked as Christmas Day. And that's the official release date, the 25th of December 2024. And I think the reason being is they reckon that it'll be so left field. I think movies have done this before.
Yeah.
It'll be so left field that there'll be no competition.
Yeah, it could be. Makes sense, right around the Christmas time. I'm definitely... This is the one that I'm probably the most excited about. I have a boner for vampires. I don't know why.
And when I see William Dafoe there now in that image, and it just gives me like London After Midnight vibes. That makes the white stuff come out big time.
Man, we have to talk about that film. I think to end this, just rattled me off, or I can rattle some off, and then we can go meh or yay. It's fucking for shit that's coming out.
Okay, so I have some here. There's one I do want to talk about a little bit more in depth before we just go into the like random and just fly through them, which is actually there's more than one, but let me run through this really quick. So Witchboard is one that I'm actually really excited for.
The original I actually don't mind. That's not
so
funny.
same. This is the thing. So and this is the interesting part about it though. A reimagining of the 1986 horror classic written and directed by Chuck Russell, who also done Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, The Mask, the 1986 Blob, Eraser, Bless the Child, The Scorpion King, is marking his return to the horror genre in this wild reimagining of the original movie. Emily and her fiancé Christian discover an ancient Wiccan artifact, a pendulum board, as they prepare to open a bistro in New Orleans' French Quarter. Emily becomes obsessed with the board's power and spirit summoning, exposing her to an ancient spirit of the Queen of Witches. Desperate to help her, Christian seeks the advice of an occult expert, Alexander Baptiste, who has secrets of his own, including a connection to a modern-day coven of witches. A masked ball set in a mansion, murder and mayhem ensue. With each swing of the pendulum, a dangerous game is played with Emily's soul at stake. There is also rumours that this movie has been given a $20 million budget.
That's pretty good.
Which I think would be wild. I can't see who would fund Witchboard reboot.
Kind of excited, like the original. Kind of like Scorpion King. If I could just have that shit on VHS, man, watch that shit over and over.
Same.
Even though The Rock's a fucking
and also, I don't think that this is getting a streaming release either. I think the plan is to go to theaters.
I'd 100% watch it. No, what's funny? I watched the original like only the first time, like maybe last year or the year before, or something like that. I was like, kind of like this. Kind of like my vibe.
That's a thumbs up for you?
Yeah. Yay.
Okay. Okay, next up we have Saw 11. The 11th installment of the franchise is set to come out in September, October 2024, and will apparently follow on from the story of number 10 and will feature
I can't keep up with them. I haven't watched this as the fucking like fourth one. Like I'm gonna if you want to do a deep dive, and I'm like, you know how long it's gonna take me to fucking get through all these goddamn movies to write something about
Saw is my shit. I love Saw.
I'll do it. I will do it for the craft. But I'm gonna be like a murderer at the end of it. I am gonna be Jigsaw. I'm gonna have somebody tied up in my basement and be like, "Do you want to play a game?"
I love John Kramer so much.
Do you want to play a game?
You're actually gonna have to work on that. So yay or nay for Saw 11?
I'm gonna go meh, man. I got it. I know you're yay. You love it. Let me. I don't know. I have to get into it. I haven't watched. I like Spiral though. That shit was pretty good because actually one I actually did watch.
Yeah, it was decent. That was decent. Let's see. Next up we have Trap, which is going to be M. Night Shyamalan's
I like
new movie.
Shyamalama Ding Dong.
which is expected in the third quarter of 2024 and will have Josh Hartnett as the lead.
Let's bring it back, sexy Josh, eh?
I hope he has that haircut from Halloween H2O.
The same as his mom's haircut. Let's bring it back, man. Let's bring it back.
The plot is unknown for the most part, but is set to be a psychological thriller that will be set entirely in one location at a concert.
I like whatever his name is, M. Night Shyamalan. I enjoy most of his stuff. The wife really loved Servant. That show was weird. I enjoyed it, especially because fucking Ron Weasley was in that shit. But it's a bizarre concept, but it was good.
So yeah, M. Night said that about the movie's story without revealing any plot points. He said it is very unusual and very, very new and different compared to what I've been trying to do in recent years. This may be my strangest movie yet.
Yeah, because he switched over from, I think, Universal to he's with a new production company now, and he's like essentially.
Is he with Warner Brothers?
Warner Brothers, yeah.
Is that who this? Yeah.
So he's like kind of bought out now from them. So whatever he's producing now will be done by Warner Brothers. I have high hopes, I guess.
That's a thumbs up for me.
Yeah.
I do like his stuff. Next, moving on, we have The Watchers, which is written and directed by none other than I don't know how you pronounce her name, Ashana, who is also known for obviously Servant, and she was second unit director, I think, for Old.
That's why I said debuts. Old is great, man. Like that. Come on, so good. Different premise.
The Watchers movie, it follows Mina, a 28-year-old artist, as she gets stranded in an extensive forest in Western Ireland. After finding shelter, she becomes trapped alongside 3 strangers stalked by mysterious creatures each night. This forest isn't charted on any map. Every car breaks down at its tree line, and Mina's is no different. Left stranded, she is forced into a dark woodland, only to find a woman shouting, urging her to run to a concrete bunker. As the door slams behind her, the building is besieged by screams. She finds herself in a room with a wall of glass with an electric light that activates at nightfall, when the Watchers come above ground. These creatures emerge to observe their captive humans, and terrible things happen to anyone who cannot reach the bunker in time.
I am very, very sneaky, sir.
I don't know how I feel about that. I want to be
excited because it sounds different, to be honest. It sounds kind of cool. Is it going to play out that way? I don't know. It's sort of like directorial debut. So like you want to really make a mark, especially because your dad is M. Night Shyamalan. Come on. Like, I don't know.
I'm sure nobody
likes The Village, but if you do 3 grams of mushrooms, you'll like The Village. It's fucked, man. Watching that shit is so funny. I watched that outside, like tripping balls. And then I haven't seen it since I was like 14, maybe like 16, something like that. Like I saw it in theaters and my best friend fell asleep. And then, so we were like, so I watched it recently, and then I was freaking out at the end when I figured out, I remembered everything that happened. I was like, wow, how did I forget all of this?
I don't mind The Village that much.
I like Signs, bro. I like a lot of I like Knock Knock. You know, for how progressive it was. Sure, I liked it. It was fun. Imaginary.
So are we giving that a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
I'm kind of excited. I want to see what it's going to be like. It sounds weird and different, and that could be fun.
Same as. And then the final one. Look, there's before we talk about the final one, there's a million movies going to come out, and we could sit here for it's nearly a 2-hour episode.
I know. Black Phone 2, I'll just rattle them off. Baghead, Cuckoo, Dust, Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. They're going to be doing a lot of shit. They're doing Salem's Lot. That'd be pretty cool. Night Bitch, whatever that is, that sounds fun. Long Legs. There's a bunch of stuff. You're a Monster. Last Train to New York. Return to Soho. We talked about that. The Black Phone 2 is going to be interesting. They got another Exorcist movie coming. They got Megan 2.0. So there's a lot of stuff in the works.
There is a lot of stuff. Another one that I see is doing the rounds lately is this Imaginary movie. So it's due out in March 2024.
Did you ever have an imaginary friend?
I don't think so, no.
I don't think I did.
If I had an imaginary friend anyway, they would have been fucked today.
I thought, at that age. I thought I was a werewolf, so.
You thought you were a werewolf and I was having sex with my imaginary girlfriend. So the movie follows a woman as she returns to her childhood home to discover that the imaginary friend she left behind is very real and unhappy that she abandoned him. Now, to be fair, that does sound kind of freaky.
Yeah.
The idea of that. Directed by Jeff Wadlow, who is also known for Kick-Ass 2, Truth or Dare, Fantasy Island.
His name's Wadlow?
Are You Afraid of the Dark? Yeah.
Jeff Wadlow sounds like an 80s porn star.
I know, right? Because I wouldn't mind, right? When I was typing that out, I had to check it 4 or 5 times. I was like, Wadlow. Is this right? Or is this like a joke? But he has a movie that he made that I really like. It's called Cry Wolf. It's from a good few years ago. It's kind of like a slasher mystery movie.
Is it good? Should I watch it? All these movies. You have to give me a list.
I think you'd really like this
Cry
movie, and
Wolf?
I think Chelsea would probably. Yeah, I think Chelsea would probably get into it as well. It has one of those stories where at the end you're like, ha, that's actually a really good twist.
Cry Wolf. Gotcha. Put that in my
so yeah, he's doing it. He's directing it, and he co-wrote the movie with Bryce Maguire, who we talked about earlier. He is the writer and director of Night Swim.
Yeah, interesting. Well, it's funny that it's like Five Nights at Freddy, like that. It's like that's Blumhouse. I don't know, man. There's something about Blumhouse. I'm like, I don't have faith.
I know.
No faith in you. I don't know why I read an accent.
Every time I hear them mentioned, I'm like...
Because I saw Five Nights at Freddy at theaters because I couldn't see Thanksgiving. Five Nights at Freddy, whatever. I played the game the other night, and I was like, I screamed on the couch because I never played it. And I was like, I had it on my face, and I was like, holy shit. Game. And then my wife was like, what the fuck? I was like, I'm trying this game. But I watched it, and I thought it was okay. Like, it's...
mediocre.
It's very mediocre. It's very predictable.
Yeah. The best part about it was Matthew Lillard, and his reveal at the end was my favorite bit.
That was
the
the best part.
Thought was absolutely terrible.
Yeah. Just because I like Stu. I've always liked Stu.
So yeah, like the villain for this one or whatever is based around that teddy bear. He has something to do with it. And the teddy bear. How would you pronounce? Can you see the teddy bear's name? Chauncey?
Fucking Chauncey? Why would they meet Chauncey?
I don't know.
Why would they name it Chauncey, man? Weird. I fucking hate that name.
So
I didn't know they named
February
it Chauncey.
2023, so February last year, Deadline reported that Lionsgate had bought the worldwide rights for Blumhouse horror movie Imaginary. The movie reportedly has a budget of around $13 million.
It's pretty good.
That's one of those ones where I'm like...
I don't know. I'm kind of in the middle. It's a good premise if you can do it right, but Blumhouse is like this, where it's like, oh, I kind of like that, and it's like, oh, that was really bad, and that's like, oh, I kind of like that, and then oh, that was really bad. It's like this like up and down hill. Like we still have to do a commentary on Halloween Ends because we both never finished it, and you've never even seen it.
I've never even seen it. We should probably do that sooner rather than later. I need to get some more of these, I think. When I'm doing that, it'll just make
we'll
it
wait till
funnier.
February till I'm not sober anyway.
Yeah, we'll wait because Thomas is a new man.
Yeah, I'm a new guy. That was fun though. I actually really enjoyed talking about it. We always like are diving into specific movies, but sometimes it's fun to kind of bounce around the place. You know?
Yeah, that was fun. I think it's good. And then like you said, in 12 months' time, to be able to like end the year off with another 2-hour episode and kind of compare how we felt now versus how we'll feel when they all come out.
What we didn't like.
But yeah,
werewolves.
I guess that's it. Like, I mean, we should probably just wrap up the episode. We're coming up on the 2-hour mark, so it's probably best for us to leave us here. Obviously, if you've been watching the video format of this, if you look down below Tom there, you've all the little things for the website, TikTok, Patreon, Instagram, wherever. So go and support. Obviously, rate and review the show on whatever podcast platform you're listening on. Make sure to check us out on Rumble, YouTube, anywhere else that you consume podcasts or any sort of content. And Tom, if you want to shout out your Strange Brew stuff as well.
Obviously, please support the show. It goes a long way. You don't realize how much like a like, a comment, a subscribe, a rate and review really does for the show. Everyone thinks, God, I like it. You know, I'm listening to it, whatever. I'm giving them downloads or streams. But it also helps us do that little bit extra. You know, like the movie Shenanigans. Or that's not Shenanigans, that, you know what movie I'm talking about. When they're at Shenanigans, and the Shenanigans thing is like, you gotta give a little extra, right? It's just like, it can't be extraordinary without giving that little extra, right? So if anyone could do that.
100%.
100%.
Because if everybody that tuned in,
Waiting is the movie, sorry.
You know, left a like or a comment or whatever, a rate and review, like it would help us enormously on both shows, because there's
100%.
We can clearly see, you know, like when you look at your audio downloads and stuff, and then like when I look at the interaction, I'm like, this doesn't reflect these numbers at all.
No, 100%. And that's why people can go out of their way to shoot us a message, give us ideas, tell us what you'd want to hear us talk about, or what you want to see us do a commentary on, especially if you can watch along with us on Patreon. And this is why, like, you know, we're small fries compared to the big bucket, but I want to fill that bucket up, and I want to be a big fry, right? I want to be a fry that you can barely get your hands around.
What What do you want to fill the bucket up with?
The white stuff, I guess. That's what it has to be. It's going to be ranch dressing,
Nice.
though. Or some maybe, no, garlic aioli. It's going to be in my bucket because that's the fries. I'm going to be dipping them in there, man. Garlic aioli with fucking a nice French fry, bro. It's supreme. But obviously, Strange Brew Podcast, too. I really want to push people towards supporting this show on Rumble and Strange Brew Podcast. You can find us on Instagram, on all podcast platforms. On X, we're Strange Brewcast. I'm trying to use that shit. But really, like, if people just put in the effort to give that like, that subscribe, that rate and review, it would go a very long way and support freedom of speech apps like Rumble.
Do everything Tom said. We'll see you in the next episode. I'm not sure what it'll be yet. We have so many things I either pre-recorded or yet to record, and it'll be something fun. Yeah. You can be sure of that.
There's a lot of fun stuff coming.
Let us know when you listen to this. Go to our socials and let us know what you're excited for.
Yeah, 100%. I want to know.
How about that?
I want to know.
Yeah, that's something we want to know.
Tell us.
Bye, horror boys.
Stay horny for horror.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Class HorrorCast.